11 of the 13 candidates for the United States congressional seat from California's 8th District attended this forum the final Friday of March at the First Assembly of God Church in Victorville. The event was organized by Americans for America and hosted by Clint Ayer. The moderator, Sharon Angle of Nevada, author of Right Angle, One Woman's Journey to Reclaim the Constitution. Candidates' opening statements.
There are many obstacles to be here today. As a mother at age 16, I dropped out of school to care for my baby. I've obtained my GED and earned my associates in criminal justice. And as a single mother, I became a correctional officer and worked diligently to become the prison's warden, a criminal justice professor, and a college board president. I've earned my bachelor's degree in organizational leadership from Pepperdine, from Azusa Pacific University, and an international master's degree from Pepperdine University, both Christian institutions, which gave me the experience to study in foreign countries like China, France, and Mexico, obtaining that much-needed knowledge in foreign affairs. Today, I'm a proud parent of a United States Airman, and my daughter is a detention officer at the local ICE facility in Adelanto, and I'm a grandmother of one. I balance and oversee multi-million-dollar budgets as a finance director for Victor Valley Wastewater Reclamation Authority, and I'm a councilwoman. As you can see, I've worked very hard to prepare myself to serve my community and to serve my country, and I would be honored for your vote in Congress, for Congress, and I'll be your voice, and that voice will not be silenced. Thank you.
I've been in the high desert for about 20 years. I chose this place to build my house and to raise my family, and I have Midwestern values. I grew up in Nebraska in the family of working people. I was the first one in my house to get a high school education, and I work at Silverado High School. I'm a counselor there. I work with a lot of the children in the high desert. I'm very proud of that work. I'm very proud of the children that I work with. My wife is back there, Sharon. In June, we will be married 34 years. We have 3 children, and we are very proud of them, and we have 7 grandchildren, and we love each and every one of them, and they're better looking than yours. Just I want to go to Washington. Jobs are going to be my priority. Sharon and I have come to believe that there is no better way to have a good life than to start with a decent job. I've tried it on both sides. I have a good job, and it's helped provide a decent life for Sharon. We work hard. I've tried it the other way, working hard without a good job. I know that there's a lot of folks out in the high desert that would love the opportunity to have a decent income. Everything I ever do is going to be to help folks get that job.
God bless you all for being here. It's a very large privilege for me to be here tonight. I got into this race about mid-December, not knowing anybody, very little money, and I did know some people from the Tea Party. Bill here, one of them, and Clint over there, and I have to give them a little thanks for getting the Tea Party going up here in the high desert. It gives somebody like an ordinary person, I consider myself kind of ordinary, to have a shot at something like this, because although I am constitutionally qualified, I don't have all the letters and stuff that some of the other people have. Patriotism and love of country, if they're not in your heart, I don't care how much, and I do have a lot of education, but I don't care how much education you have, it's not, you can't learn that. It's got to be there. If it's not there, you don't have it. If you don't have common sense, it's not there.
I represent the largest supervisorial district in the United States. I'm a member of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors, and I represent more than half of the 8th Congressional District. It's an area I know very well. In fact, it goes from Redlands to Bridgeport. I happen to have graduated from the University of Redlands. I happen to have proposed to my wife in Death Valley. Very comfortable in the 8th Congressional District. I know the issues very well. The federal government owns over 80% of most of the land in the 8th District. So, as you might imagine, I work with the federal government every day. I know all the agencies and all the bureaucracies and all the terrible laws that Congress refuses to reform. And I'm tired of it. And that's one reason why I'm seeking this seat in the United States Congress. I've been a fighter for San Bernardino County. It's been a privilege for 6 years being supervisor for this area. I've been a regional leader. One of the things we're losing with Congressman Lewis retiring and with Congressman Dreyer retiring is we're losing seniority. So it's going to be very important that we have a proven person, someone with a track record, who can get things done in Washington in this particular seat. So we don't have to rely on seniority. That'll take 20 or 30 years to get. It can be done. As the chairman of the Mojave Air Quality Management District, I've been fighting for our area's independence from AB 32, from the global warming law, which is terrible for our area, it's terrible for our cement industry. Something needs to be done at the federal level to stop this state from hamstringing itself with global warming laws. It's terrible. I was a proponent, in fact I was a leader, a statewide leader in Prop 23, which would have delayed that law. It's one of many laws that needs to be reformed, and that's one of the things I want to do in Congress.
And I must first apologize for the delay in you being able to get here. That is because we are building an interchange that will make your lives all that much easier just right outside these doors. But I am running for Congress as the mayor of the largest city in the 8th District. We have done a lot to turn the city of Victorville around in the 3 years that I've been on the council. We've balanced the budget. We have reduced spending. We have cut back on staff. We've made all the necessary cuts that we've needed to make. And the reason that we've been able to do that is I come from the private sector where I've had to do it in my own business. And so I've translated that into government. I know how to cut, and I will do that in Washington, D.C. I'm born and raised in the high desert, married to my wife, Jennifer, and we have 2 beautiful kids, my daughter, Anya, who's 5, and my son, Gavin, who's 4. And we live right here in the city of Victorville, again, the largest city in this district. And I think it's important to point out, I will point it out like I did last night, that we need to elect someone in this district that lives in this district, that's from this district, that is not coming into this district and trying to buy this seat. And I'm very concerned that we do have someone on this panel tonight that is looking to do just that. So I encourage you to listen to all of us, but please remember that when you do go to vote, vote for someone who lives in this district.
I'm a conservative patriot. I'm not a politician. I've been a business owner for 30 years. I own 2 successful businesses. Some of you might know me as the IRS problem solver. That's one of my main businesses. I battle big government every day of the week, helping my clients get favorable results on situations that are just unbearable. And I know how it is out there. I've got clients coming in. They've lost their jobs. They can't make their mortgage payments. Their house is upside down. You know, I'm sick and tired, just like you guys. We need somebody to represent us. I've seen our representatives just line their pockets, make themselves rich. And I've written 3 books, An Inside Look at the IRS, God, Money, and You, and How to Solve All Your Financial Problems. And I tell you what, I work very hard on living the American dream. I'm very concerned for our children and our grandchildren right now. The national debt is $15.4 trillion. If you added it all up, we'd have to all come up with $46,000 right now to pay off the debt. And there's no end in sight. We've got to end this fiscal insanity, folks. We're not going to have a country anymore. And I want to help you, and I want to serve you, and I want to create jobs, and I want to get rid of this unbalanced budget that we've got going right now, and it doesn't seem like anybody wants to help us. And I'm just sick and tired of it. I want to help you guys. I want to help you succeed, help you live the American dream. And that's why I'm running for this office. I've got hundreds of clients in this district. I'm helping a group of kids to be ambassadors for compassion as part of Lift Up America organization. They're helping out their communities. They're doing something. They're learning to be successful, to work, and to do something for their communities. And that's what I want to accomplish as your representative here in the 8th District. So I appreciate you. I love you guys, and I appreciate this time up here today.
Sharon, good luck to you. You're going to beat Harry Reid next time, I know it. Hello, my name is Bill Jensen. I'm a lifelong resident of the High Desert, and I'm a 23-year veteran of the United States Air Force Reserves. And I'm a real estate broker in the High Desert for over 30 years. I'm a former Hesperia city councilman and mayor, and one of the founders of the High Desert Tea Party movement. Our government is out of control, and I'm one of the leaders that you can depend on to ensure that change and the voice of District 8 are brought to Washington, D.C. As a real estate broker, I understand the failings of the mortgage industry. And if you send me to Washington, D.C., I guarantee you that on day one, I will take my 30 years of real estate experience and repeal Dodd-Frank and begin the work on overhauling Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Reserve policy. I will take my 23 years of military experience and ensure that our country defends its borders, prevents nuclear, chemical, and biological proliferation. I will ensure that our veterans receive proper medical care on and off the battlefield. I will not support Agenda 21, and under no circumstances will I allow UN authority to ever influence our national defense policy or allow any authority over our U.S. armed forces. The failing U.S. tax policy and IRS intrusion into our lives and the corporate tax rates have driven industry out of the United States. I will reduce, if not completely eliminate, the IRS tax code, drop rates for individuals and corporate rates to spur jobs and investment. But on day one, I start the process of terminating the inheritance tax. Reducing the government is a top priority. We need to eliminate the overreaching size of the federal government through the EPA and the IRS and the Federal Reserve policies and the Department of Education. Open the newspaper that you got out front and you'll see that I printed in that newspaper the pictures of every politician that said that they would vote to allow gay, lesbian, transgender to be taught to kindergartners.
I don't know if it's by accident, but it's truly an honor to be sitting at the far right end of this table. So, I'm a Christian. I'm pro-life. I believe God ordained marriage between a man and a woman. I've been married. Thank you. I've been married to my wife Penny, my high school sweetheart, for 33 years. We have 9 kids, some naturally and some are natural lives. So. And I've been in the construction trade almost my entire life. And I got involved in the illegal immigration issue in 2005, and with Assemblyman Donnelly, we co-founded the Minuteman Civil Defense Corps together. I've got over 2,500 hours on the California-Mexican border. I know the issue. And in 2008, I was the Assemblyman's campaign manager, and I served in Sacramento as his chief of staff. And I do know this district. I've lived in the mountain my whole life. I've got family up in Mono and Inyo. I know the people everywhere in between. I've been walking the district, and I'm telling you, I don't know the exact number, but we've got 30% unemployment in this district. People are hurting. I've been walking door to door. I've been telling my wife this week, when I walked for Donnelly 2 years ago, people are giving up and losing hope, but now people have lost hope. I've seen elderly people in home living in conditions that I'm appalled that they're living that way in my community. Something's got to change. This government isn't working. Big government is the root of the problem. And it's not just big government, it's all government. And when I look at this 8th district, and I look at what politicians have done to this district over the year, like Barbara Feinstein locking us out of 3.5 million acres out in the middle of the desert, we have resources in this, under that desert floor that exist nowhere else in the world. We can fix this economy. I'm calling California. This district is California's Alamo.
Thank you.
I need you to join me to take
Greg,
it back.
I'm Dr. George Craig, and thank you very much. I applaud the church and the Patriotic Party and the group for having us here. And not only do I thank them, but I applaud them for their insight and having people come here and listen to the candidates for this very important office, as you well realize. Before I go into telling you a little bit more about myself, let me sort of start at the end and tell you 3 things that if I'm elected, I promise you I will do. And those 3 things are the following. Number 1, I promise you that at least once each month, I will be here in the district. I don't mean hiding away in my office or something of that sort, or walking the streets, but rather standing up on a stage like this and listening to the people who choose to come, because you'll know that I'll be here, and who choose to come and ask me questions. And I will make a statement and tell you about what's going on in Washington. And secondly, I will hear from you what your concerns are at that moment. And I promise you that I will do that at least once a month for the entire term of office that I'm in office. That's something that incidentally Newt Gingrich did when he was a congressman and when he was the Speaker of the House.
So that's the first thing that I promise you. Secondly, I also promise you that I will serve, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected the first time, I will serve no more than 3 terms in the Congress. I'm not going there to start a new career and stay there for the rest of my life. That's not going to be a retirement plan for me. That's the thing that I feel that I want to do, and indeed, 3 times previously I have run for this office when the office was held by
Some candidates struggled with the House rules of limiting their opening comments to 2 minutes.
Is that 5 minutes to go? 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Craig. Our next speaker.
My name is Dennis Albertson. I started my career in the military, in the Navy. I was stationed on an aircraft carrier in the Philippines. I married my wife, Julie. I've been married for 28 years. I've got 2 beautiful kids that are older now. I work currently in the military right now. I work as a government contractor at Edwards Air Force Base in cyber warfare. I deal with politicians, and I should say, I deal with politicians and I deal with government people every day of the week, working on budgets, working on procurement, things like that for the work that I do. I know things that I need to get done within this office. I want your vote. I think I can do a good job for everybody. I'm under the same feeling with the doctor here, that I think that we should have a meeting every so often. I don't know about once a month, because I know how government works, and they kind of keep you in Washington a lot. And you're doing a lot of traveling. As last night I was traveling and couldn't be here. So you do a lot of traveling when you're there. But I'd like to have a meeting every so often with everybody to find out what your issues are. Tell you what's going on back in Washington. Tell you all the issues that we need to be voting on. Get your opinion on it, so you can be telling me, because basically I'm just a conduit of you back to Washington. You need to tell me what you want. I take that back to Washington. I'm just a face back there. I talk for you. I speak for you. So, I guess that's about it.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Engel. I appreciate you hosting and moderating for us this evening. Thank you for the organizers. But mostly, thank you to all of those of you who chose to come out here tonight. There's a lot of fun things that you can do on a Friday evening, and I'm not sure how high this ranks, but I'm betting not particularly high for a lot of you, except for a sense of civic duty. And that sense of civic duty is driving you to be here tonight because you feel like there's something that you need to do to make a change in your government. I do too. I'm tired of my government being held back by partisans on the left and on the right who put politics before people. I'm tired of living in a nation that is gridlocked because of hyper-rhetoric from people who want to instill in you fear and anger and hatred, but who have no true love for their country or for serving. I'm running because I believe this country deserves to have people who are committed to not representing 42% of the district, or 32% of the district, or 20% of the district, or 8% of the district, but all of the district. I believe firmly that the people of the 8th district all want to have a voice in Washington, D.C., and nobody should not be at the table. I've looked around. I've participated. I've been involved in government at every level except the federal level, but nothing ever changes when I look around. The same old hyper-rhetoric, tired euphemisms, exhausting examples of things people want to do, but you and I know they can't, are hurled at you to try to win votes. Well-meaning men and women stand up and tell you about all the things they're going to do for you, knowing perfectly well that they can't really do it, but hoping that they're going to pull on your heartstrings, and that's going to be all it takes. I'm not going to be here tonight to appeal to your heart. I'm going to be here to appeal to your head, because I believe that America needs somebody who's using their head and doesn't let their heart interrupt what's right. I believe in this country. I believe in you. I thank each of you for being here. I want to say, God bless America.
Some candidates came to battle with an axe to grind. Victorville Mayor Ryan McAkron urged voters to vote for a candidate residing in this congressional district. This was directed at Phil Liberatore, who resides in Whittier but is in the process of moving into this district. McAkron also took a swipe at Liberatore being a CPA.
It's interesting that you have a CPA up here who's fighting for his life because we all are going to repeal the tax code. We're going to do away with the IRS and essentially put him out of business.
Liberatore poked at Anthony Adams, reneging on his oath to never vote for a tax increase, crediting then Assemblyman Adams' action with creation of the Tea Party movement in California.
I just want to point out exactly how what just happened with Mr. Liberatore is precisely the problem with America. Rather than dealing with the issue, he'd like to make it personal. He'd like to make this about somebody besides him. The reality is I'm here to represent everybody. I'm not interested in distinguishing myself from the others by making them out to be the enemy.
Silverado High School counselor John Pinkerton, the lone Democratic candidate at the forum. The Pinion Hills residents' views often less than well received by the strongly Republican and conservative audience.
I know what the right answer is for you tonight, but I thought this thing through quite a little bit. My experience working with the public has told me that this thing is not as easy as just saying, no, we're not going to do anything for illegal immigrants.
The first issue dividing the candidates, do you support the Patriot Act? No responses came from Valles, Imus, Liberatore, Adams, and Pinkerton. McAkron, Mitzelfeld, Napolitano, Craig, and Albertson responded yes. Jensen declined to comment. Enthusiastic crowd responses applauded candidates favoring the strongest policies against illegal immigration.
The only service I'm willing to provide them is a bus ticket home. They came here illegally, and that's the only thing I'd like to provide for them.
How would candidates propose to reduce federal spending?
You can't do it without growing the economy, and you can't grow the economy with tax increases. And so you have to hold the line on taxes, you have to grow the economy. Now here's another thing. Medicare costs from 1975 to 2010, the cost of services quadrupled. And it's projected that between now and 2040, they're going to triple. Why would we accept that? We need to control costs. There's myriad ways the federal government can control costs, to use its power to do that. And if the federal government only did what it was supposed to do, it wouldn't spend so much.
Well, I think first we need a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, and I think that should be put to the vote of the people. And then with that, we need to cut spending across the board on every single program with the exception of defense. I will not vote to cut any defense spending. And there will be no tax increases underneath my watch. I'm the one candidate up here who's signed the Taxpayer Protection Pledge. I don't know if any of my colleagues have, but I can tell you I was the first one.
No more just adding 20% to everything. We must stop the spending. If we don't have it, we don't spend it. It's simple. We need to mainstream countless inefficiencies and duplication of services in government, such as getting rid of the Department of Education, Department of Energy, EPA, downsizing the IRS, dealing with the federal cash reserve. And from there, we need to have transparency, first and foremost. And with that, all the rest will come.
Everybody knows we have to reduce spending. It's what we prioritize in that reducing of spending. And that's the question you're going to have to ask when you go to the polls. Well, what things are they going to cut? I'm not going to cut public education, and I'm not going to cut the military. So those two are going to be sacrosanct for me. They will never go on the table.
The Federal Reserve is probably one of the biggest people, along with the IRS, that are implementing those policies, and now we feel the pressure of the United Nations, the European Union, suddenly wanting to influence our policy, that it should not be allowed, because you do see those pressures coming toward us now. We need to make very sure to stand our guard, watch our Constitution, and eliminate large government.
Thank you.
We have to begin to rein in entitlement spending. It used to be the case that defense spending was the principal and largest part of our federal budget, and very quickly now entitlement spending is taking that over. So unless we can get that under control and reduce those costs, those long-term, unsustainable increases that we're seeing in all of our social services will never get it done.
I've looked at the federal revenue. This government creates a lot of money, and people need tax relief. I would never vote for a tax, but we need to lower taxes. We need to cut spending. I know people say we need to meet halfway. I don't agree a bit. I would never be a vote to raise the debt ceiling. We've got to live within our means. I would say to balance the budget, we're going to have to start living within our means and make the appropriate cuts necessary to do so.
Sharon Angle, who suffered a narrow defeat in her attempt to unseat Harry Reid in Nevada's last senatorial election, asked the audience to support her cause to fight election fraud, which she calls America's silent epidemic.
Yes, no,
Sponsors of the Americans for America Candidate Forum and Debate, Kurt and Valerie Emick, Assemblyman Tim Donnelly, Mayor Ryan McCachran, Steve Knight for Senator,